What's up, Heart and Hustle? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be working on these 3 shirts. We're also going to show you how to make a cutout without layering vinyl. But first, watch this.
Alright, I want to say thank you to Trinity. She did our introduction this time. Like she said, today we're going to be going over the knockout or the cutout, whatever you want to call it. I know Cameo, they call it the knockout, and in LXI they call it the cutout. So whatever program you're using, they might call it something different, but what it is it's just knocking it out so you don't have to layer the vinyl on top of each other. So we'll be covering that in this video. I have 3 t-shirts that we're going to be doing. 2 of them I've already done. I have 1 image that I haven't done. If you are using LXI to create your images, how to use it. And it's basically the same thing with the Cameo, because when I first started, I didn't know how to do the knockout. I didn't know how to do or the cutout. So I watched the Cameo videos, and then I was looking at the buttons they were pushing. And then when I looked at mine, I was like, hey, that looks like the same thing. And that's how I learned how to use the cutout on the LXI. So let's go ahead and pull up these images and check it out. I'm going to show you the process on how to do it. Alright, so I already have LXI open. What I'm going to do, here's the images that I'm going to be cutting. These are the JPEGs that I downloaded, and with these JPEGs I turned them into vectors. So if you want to, I got 2 of them here, Statue of Liberties that we're going to be working with. And then I did a pretty cool, I think it's pretty cool, is I made a vector into this with the world. And what I did was, if we open this up, you'll see the word world. I actually put, instead of the letter 0, I put the world inside of it. So like I was saying, if you look at this image right here where it says just a Texas girl in a New York world, if you look at Texas and I move it out the way, you're gonna see that the part of Texas where they would overlap, where you would overlap two types of vinyl, I did the cutout. So I'm going to show you how I did that. So I did it in this one because I don't want to overlap the vinyl like I did in this shirt right here. When I did this one, I did the Texas over Georgia, and I just layered them on top of each other. There's no difference. It's just your preference on how you want to do it. So I'm on these shirts that I'm doing today, I'm going to be doing a knockout on all of them. So if we look here, this one has the knockout. And then I'll be pressing this one. This one also has the knockout. I'm not pressing this shirt right here, but because I need to get the t-shirt. But if you look at it, all of this has been knocked out already, so none of it will be overlapping. And the customer wanted straight pink on black, so this is when, especially when you want to do a knockout, because if I was just layering all this on top of each other, you wouldn't be able to see these letters unless you, what is it called, unless you outlined the letters in a different color. So instead of doing the outline, we did a knockout, so you'll be able to see the black through the shirt, through the states or through the letters. I'll be doing this one. This is a simple one, but I'm not going to be pressing this one. I got to get some tank tops for those 2 shirts. And then this one is the one we are going to be working on. So if we look at this one, so if we look, we got Texas right here, and then we got the state Texas. If we look, none of this has been cut out. None of this right here has been cut out at all. So all of this, if we look, is going to be layered on top of each other. So what we're going to do is we're not going to do a layer. We're going to do a cutout or a knockout. Here in LXI, we are going to, first thing I want to do is I want to hit Texas, and I want to make a contour cut. So we're going to do a contour cut. When I click that, if we look closely, you're going to see, I'll zoom in, you're going to see that there's a white border all the way around this. And then you can make this border, if we look here in LXI Design Central, you can adjust it. So if you want to make that contour cut bigger, you can. If you see it, it's getting bigger. Or if you want to make it smaller, you can make it smaller. So I'm going to keep it where I had it. Um, 66 of an inch. And then if you look inside the A, if you look in the A, mostly the A, yeah. you can see that it has the cutout also in the A. So you can do it with holes or you can do it without holes. So without the hole, it's going to cut this whole piece out, and it's going to cut the inside of the A out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it with holes, and I'll show you in a minute what it's going to do. So once you got the contour cut set to Texas, you're going to come here, you're going to click the check mark. Once we click the check mark, it's set what it's going to do. It hasn't cut it out yet, but it's set that it's going to cut this contour cut on the outside. Once we do that, we're going to click the word again. Click the word is going to highlight it, and if you look now, it's got the outside. It has the outside of the word, the contour cut, and the word highlighted, so or traced out. So what we're going to do now is we're going to Control C, Control V. We're going to copy it. All right. So if I click this right here, you're going to see how it has these two different cuts. All right. So what we're going to do now is, now that I have this image out of the way, and I'll tell you why we make a copy of it and put it there, and not just go back and write it in. So now we're going to hit the Texas, and then we're going to hit the word. We're going to hold down Shift and hit the word Texas. All right, we got that. Now that they're together, we're going to come up here to the top, and we're going to hit cutout. So what it's going to do now is it's going to remove the word Texas. Okay, so now if we look, the word Texas has been removed. So now what we're going to do is we're going to grab our copy that we made, and we're going to put it right back in there. And then you can use your, once you get it up here, you can use your arrow keys to line it up. Once you get it in the place that you want, you should be, whenever you're happy with where you have it, go ahead and just drop it and click enter. So I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to, now you're going to see that the Texas is outlined in blue. So now these two types of layers, these two types of vinyls, when we press them, they won't be layered. I just want to make sure that this one, move that one over a little bit, because I don't want it sitting on top of the word Texas. All right, so this is a really good thing to do if you are using two different types of vinyls and you don't want to see that, you don't want to shrink it. So that's one way to do it, because some vinyl like Caesar Easy Weed, if you use it, hey, that's what you use, but you got to be careful because it does shrink a lot. All right, so we got that piece in. And the reason I made a copy of it and I didn't rewrite it is because you don't want to lose the size. Once you copy it and paste it somewhere else, and then you cut it out, all you have to do is take your copy, which is going to be the exact same size, and put it right back into your image wherever you cut it out from. So the next thing we're going to do is girl. So we're going to hit girl. We're going to come up here to effects, contour cut. If you see it has the outline, we're going to come here, we're going to hit the check mark, give it a thumbs up, that's what we want. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to click it again. As you can see, it's got the outline or the contour cut line on there. Then we're going to hit it, we're going to Control C, Control V for Windows operation, for Windows. And then we are going to come back, and then we're going to click girl and Washington, cut out. Now you see it's gone. Take the word girl and put it right back in there. So now you see girl has that nice blue outline or contour cut or cutout, whatever it's called in the program. So next thing we're going to do, NA, we're going to do NA, effects, contour cut, hit the check mark. And the good thing about it is it always keeps the same size, so you don't have to keep adjusting. If it's set to a default size, say you have it set to 3/4 of an inch or 1 inch, you don't have to resize it every single time. I don't know if it's like that for every program, but for LXI it is like that. Then we're going to come here, click it, Control C, Control V, come back, Shift. We got Washington and NA selected. We're going to come here and do the cutout. Once we got it, we're going to drop it right into place. Next thing we're going to do is the word Washington. Same thing, effect, contour cut, and then we are going to hit apply. Once we apply it, copy and paste it. Shift, click both of them and delete it. Put Washington right back into place. So for any reason, if you guys are wondering the fonts that I used, you come here to Texas. It's actually God of War. The girl, so just A and in A are the same font, and then girl, Washington, and world are all Christmas Day, the font that I used. So we got that knocked out, and then for this down here, the world, all I did with the word world was took out the O, and then once I got it to where I wanted it, I just put the W, spaced it out a whole bunch, and then put RLD, dropped the world in there. Here's something I want to show you too, and I thank you for all the subscribers that was telling me about this, is I was grabbing the corner of the handlebar and I would move it, and if I moved it wrong, it was actually messing up the image, and then I would try to go back in there and get it to look right all over again. But so I'm going to show you what some subscribers told me. A good thing to do is you can come down here, you hold down Control, and it'll actually keep the shape of the whatever you're messing with, and it won't mess it up or deform it or whatever you did. They told me that I did that with the Batman, but it's alright. Appreciate the info for that. So that's all I did with that. Is like I said, I showed you the vector. I made a vector out of the world and then dropped it in there with that one. So now we're good and we're ready to cut all of these. All right, so something else I want to add into this right here is this cutout is not something that, if you look at mine, I have it up here, I guess like as a shortcut up here. But if you are using LXI Expert, Apprentice does not have this function. And the way you could tell what version you're using, if you come up here to the top left-hand corner, you're going to see LXI Expert. If you have LXI Expert, you do have this function. One of my subscribers had emailed me or wrote me a message and was like, I can't find it. I can't find it. So then I asked him what version he was using or they were using, and it was actual the Apprentice. So if you go to signwarehouse.com, they have some of their programs that you could download. I'm not sure which ones they are. I haven't gone through them yet. But if you do have these tools right here, let me click this. If you do have it, how did I get it up here to the top? It's like if you look right here, it's going to have it. It has it right here on the left hand side where all your tools are at. So if you see this little arrow that's on there, if you click it and you hold it down, it's going to give you the option for a whole bunch more. If you want to take it, because it's something that we use a lot, is you can just grab it and then drag it to wherever you want. And that's how I got it to where now that I moved it. But what you're going to do is you're just going to grab it, put it where you want it, and then drop it in a place where you want it. So I always use those tools, especially when we're using font. The weed tool is something that if you're using cursive letters, you got to make sure you weld them together. With that being said, let me make sure I welded all these fonts before I go and cut them. So yeah, see, I didn't even weld that one. I would have cut it and it's not even welded. So with this one right here, if you look here, these letters are overlapping. So if I go and cut it, it's gonna cut the U, and it's gonna cut the U out of the S, and then it's gonna cut the S out of the U. So you want to make sure you don't do that. So what you want to do is come up here and click weld. Now you see they're all together, or they're joined, whatever they call it in your program that you use. So I'm just going to go through. This one's already been welded. This one, as you can see, is welded. And the word world hasn't been welded, so we're going to come here and we're going to weld it. So let me show you something else also, is whenever you are working with these fonts and I'm going to show you like this, and when you first type in the words, they're going to be spaced out like far apart. So they're actually going to look probably like this. So whenever you see these nice fonts and they look nice and they're all cursive and they look together, but then when you go and you type the word, they're always like far apart. So how do you get them to come together? On LXI, you have this on Design Central, you click your font. You click your font and then you come down here to this AB and it shows two arrows facing into each other. The two arrows that are facing into each other, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click the down arrow. What it's going to, and when you do that, it's going to bring it in. So what we're going to do first is we're going to click in between the L and the R, and all we're going to do is hit this arrow down here, and it's going to bring those, it's going to join those two letters, but it's not going to weld them. And then you're going to do the same thing with this one. As you can see there, the L is still sticking out of the D, so if you hit it one more time, now they flow, it's like they flow together. All right, so now we got that done. As we can see, they're not welded though. I'm gonna move this R. Let's move this R in one more time. Let's see how it looks. So if we look, that looks good. I just didn't want to leave it this way, and then it cuts like up here towards the top. I don't want it to cut like the tip of the R sticking out. So it's all your preference on how you want to weld your letters together, or you want to, how close you want them or how far apart you want them. Like I said, you can even bring this in even more. You can bring this D closer. It all depends on how you want it, how you like your letters to look. So for me, this is good. As you can see, the R, L, D, they haven't been welded, so we have to weld them. If we don't weld them, bad. So let's weld them. You're just gonna waste this vinyl and you have to recut it. So let's weld them. They're welded together. If we look good, I'm gonna see the size that I'm gonna be cutting. I gotta click the I gotta select the whole image. 12 and a half, 12, almost 13 inches by 12 inches. 11 and a half, so that's good. So we're gonna cut this one and the other ones, and now that I have this the way I want it, I need to make sure I save it. And then, like I said, this ruler right here, it depends on you if you want to keep it there or you want to move it. I just use it. I don't keep it there. I use it to see the size, and then I hit the X to get rid of it. So now we got our size. We're gonna click. I already saved it. We're good. Now I want to double check my other images, make sure I welded them. That's been welded. Everything else there looks good. This is gonna have a lot of detail when we go to weeding it, but it's all right. She's actually from the King Ranch in Kingsville, Texas. So if you look, another thing I did with this one was I dropped the Longhorn in there. Shows where she's from. So we got that one. Washington, Texas. So those are the three shirts that we're going to be working with. So let's go ahead. We're going to turn the cutters on. All right, so now I got my computer set up over here next to my cutter. So I'm going to show you what I do to try to save some vinyl. Hopefully you can see this. All right, so what I like to do is separate. We got two colors here. We got black and we got red. So if I were to cut this piece right here, it's going to cut on a 12 piece, 12 by about 11, 12 by 11 piece of vinyl. And so what I'm going to do is try to save some vinyl on this. So I'm going to bring this Texas down to here and then bring New York in right there. So remember, if you click New York and then you go to click the cutter, it's only going to show New York. It's not going to show the rest of your image. So to cut both of them at the same time, we're going to hit shift, click one of them, hit shift, and then click the other. You'll see they're both outlined. And then what we're going to do after that is we're going to come here to hit the cutter, and then as you can see, it's showing both of them. All right, so now we're going to get ready to send this over. Let me show you how I set up my cutter. Okay, if you remember in my last video, I was trying to cut a 15-inch piece set from here to here, and it only would cut the 12-inch. Subscriber was telling me that if I move it over and actually use this blue one over here, because this line is so long that I can fit the whole 15 inches in there. So I appreciate that, and it's working just fine. So we're gonna get ready to send it over. I'm gonna hit front edge. Remember, the glossy side always goes down, and the part that you're gonna cut goes up. On this part right here, I left the image the way it was, so all I'm going to do is just send it so that it'll already be portioned out to the way it's supposed to be pressed on there. These Statue of Liberties are going to be fun to weed. They got a lot of detail in them. Let this one finish up. I just want to say I appreciate all of you that joined us for our YouTube live when we went live. By the time this video comes out, probably like a week or two. Appreciate all of you that joined. We'll do it again. It was fun. So those of you that have been watching, you know I don't have B-Flex Give Me 5 vinyl. So this is actually Thermoflex Plus. I'm going to be pressing this with the B-Flex vinyl tonight. Alright, these two are done. Remember, if you got this tool right here, you can use it along with this line to make your straight line. Okay, so I got the third image pulled up. We're gonna get ready to cut that one. But what I'm gonna do with this one is I'm gonna cut the pink, I'm gonna cut the white, but I'm not gonna cut the black. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna weed these the pieces that I've already cut. And since this only has a little bit of black in it, I'm gonna use the scrap pieces that I have. Instead of using more vinyl from the roll, use what I got there to finish this one off. So let's go ahead and cut the pink. We got all three pieces cut. The only thing I need to do is the black, but I want to use scrap pieces for that. So we're going to go here, we're going to weed these pieces real quick so I can get the black out, and then we'll cut this last piece. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to cut out some scrap pieces. Grab my weeding tool. And we're going to use some superpowers to do this real quick. Alright, so we got all those pieces weeded out. Scrap piece that I said I was going to use instead of using the whole roll. I got this piece right here. And the first thing I'm going to cut is the Washington State. I always use the Cricut mat. But remember, when you're using the Cricut mat on this machine right here, you can't load it. You can't put the sticker from here to here because it's going to read this piece right here. So I always stick it to the edge. And I'll show you right now. So when I load it, you see I go all the way, even there's no sticky stuff here, it's still holding on here. So that's how I'm going to use it, because it's going to read the edge of the vinyl. Same thing, now I have to readjust these rollers again, put these back to the 12-inch piece, hit front edge, Same piece, I'm just going to turn it this way, long ways. Same piece, line it up. It's just for the Alright, so here's our two pieces. I cut them the wheel out. Alright, so if you look at this one, you can see, and this piece right here will fall into place right here. Just like that. Then we still gotta put the soccer ball. We gotta put the world right here. So let's do that piece real quick. So here it is. You can see this ain't lined up. I just gotta line it up. But if you look right here, the knockout, that's how it comes out. So let's go ahead and get the heat press warmed up, and then we'll press these 3 t-shirts. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna press the black because it's Thermoflex Plus. First thing we're gonna do is go through 2 of the shirts because the big part of it is black. And then whenever we get to this one, we're going to press the outside first and then come back with the black. So let's go ahead and get started on these. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead. Alright, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna heat my shirt for 3 to 4 seconds just to take out the moisture from it. Then I'm gonna use my T-square to line it up. So we're good right there. Now we're gonna lay this piece on there. Make sure you don't have no extra pieces in there that don't need to be there. Alright, Big Wheel, this is for you. You asked why I use the Teflon paper when I'm just pressing one color. You don't have to. It's just something like when I reply to you, it's just something that I've got used to doing. So I do it all the time. But like you said, the backing on this is good. And just to show you that what you're saying is right, I'm not going to use it. But if you're doing 2 colors, you do want to use it. So we got the one down. I'm going to press it. So there's this one right here. You can see the knockout where the other piece is going to go. So there's one of them. We're going to do the other one real quick. On this one, we're going to go back to the other method. We use a T-square on the first one. Second one, we're going to fold it. If you can hear those dogs, they are not mine. For those of you who don't have a T-square, you can see now it has a little crease in the middle. You really can't see it, it's a little dark. You can see it down here, but I can see it. There's a crease in the shirt in the middle. So now what we're going to do, we now know where the middle of our shirt is. Our logo. Again, make sure that there's nothing in here that you don't want. And like Big Will said, you don't need the Teflon paper, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to press it. Full press, 15 seconds. Teflon paper is used for like when I pull this piece off and I put like a little piece on there, and that little piece, the backing's not going to cover the big piece. That's when you want to put this so that your vinyl doesn't get stuck to your heat press on top. And there's a second one right there. See that detail? So now what I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna turn down the heat press so that we can press the B5 and we can warm peel it and not have to wait for it to get cold. If you are using the Gimme 5, make sure you lower the time to 5 seconds. 4 seconds. My bad. 4 seconds. All right, so our temperature's down to 140 degrees Celsius, because mine reads Celsius, that's what I have it at. So now we're gonna press, this is from B-Flex, this is the Gimme 5. So we're gonna press this one, all right? So always before you start, make sure you double check you don't have nothing in there. And look, I forgot to weed the G, so I'm gonna do that. Alright, so the G's good. Alright, now we're gonna go ahead. This is the Gimme 5 vinyl right here. It only takes 4 seconds at 280 degrees. So we have our heat press set. We got our vinyl in place, and now we're gonna give it the press. As soon as I press it, you can hear it's gonna be going off because it's gonna pop up. Well, it's supposed to pop up. It's not popping up. I'm gonna pop it up. Alright, so this one's a warm peel, so we can peel it right now. Alright, so we got that piece off. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to work on the knockout. You see the knockout there, how it looks? It's going to fit right into these letters here. Alright, Big Will, this is where you will use the Teflon paper. Because down here on the bottom, you can't, like, here's the plastic right here, the backing. If you look right here, this piece of the vinyl is not being covered by the backing. This is where I want to use the Teflon paper. So again, we're using the Gimme 5 on this piece. Give it a quick press. So here's this one. The only piece that's left is the Washington State and the World, but that again, that's Thermoflex Plus. So we're gonna have to turn the temperature back up to press that one. So I'm gonna leave this one here for now. We're gonna come back to these and finish these off. Alright, so with these, you're just gonna put these into the spots that was knocked out. You're gonna put this one, this piece right here is just gonna go somewhere on towards the bottom. So once we got those set, we're gonna grab our Teflon paper. Remember again, we got some showing vinyl, so we want to cover it with our Teflon paper. The red is Gimme 5, so with that, it's gonna press in 4 seconds. There it is. There's our first one, complete. See the detail in that? Press the pink in this one. Here's that one. See how the knockout works, or the cutout? Alright, so we're gonna finish off with this one. So we gotta turn our temperature back up. The only reason I have to go and turn it back up is because I'm using 2 different vinyls. Because the B-Flex, the guys at B-Flex didn't have black, so I'm just using what I got. Alright, so our temperature's set. I've already set these 2 pieces on there, so we're just going to press them real quick. Alright, so here's this one. This one's complete. Alright, so that's it. That's the end of the video. Like I said, we created these 3 shirts today. We went through the process of how I did a cutout or knockout, how we used the contour cut, and that's just one of the ways to use a contour cut. There's plenty of ways that you can use a contour cut. That's one way that I use it, so to give that little gap, or however big of a gap that you need between 2 pieces of two images. If you want to purchase one, hey, hit me up. We could draw one up. We can get it done for you. But if you're watching this video, it's not because you want to purchase one. It's because you subscribe to my channel, or you're here because you want to learn the process of doing it. So either way, I appreciate all of you guys for watching my videos. If you have any questions, or anything, you can email us at heartandhustleprinting@yahoo.com. Send me emails and they ask me questions about their cutters that they don't want other people to see. So I've been able to help some people that are having trouble with their cutters. So like I said, email us. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Heart and Hustle Printing. I usually post pictures of what I'm doing before the video comes out. This video will come out probably a week or two later after I've already posted pictures of this on Instagram and Facebook. So those of you that do follow me on both of them, I thank you. And I appreciate you guys for sticking with me. I want to say thank you to everybody again for subscribing to my channel. And like I always say, until next time, keep pressing.